No, I just decoded Lost Boys, and thinking back to other vampire type movies, the vampires always have these sunglasses, and they have this because of sensitivity to light, because they're vampires, right? So they sleep at night. During the day, they have to shield their eyes from the intense light. I think this also has something to do with all the death and murder and sin, and it's like almost as if they're blinded by the light, right? Well, I did some research on sunglasses because I had my suspicions, and to my shock and horror, it appears as though the first basically dissemination of sunglasses to the general public as a common theme and as a trend started happening in the early 1920s. And it was all about movie stars. Yep, Hollywood were the origins of the mainstream spread of sunglasses. It is commonly believed that this was to avoid recognition by fans, but an alternative reason sometimes given is that they often had red eyes from the powerful arc lamps that were needed due to the extremely slow speed film stock used. This stereotype persisted long after improvements in film quality and the introduction of ultraviolet filters had eliminated this problem. Inexpensive mass-produced sunglasses made from celluloid were first produced by Sam Foster in 1929. Now this celluloid, this is a very important because this goes back to Tesla, who used cellophane in some of his experiments. We covered this when we were looking at the building that Tesla lived in before he died. He lived on the 33rd floor of this building, and it was basically a wonder of the world in reproduction of power. It was a power plant. It was one of the wonders of the world in terms of power plants. And people are telling me, oh, he wasn't there for any experiment. Of course he was. Okay? Electric wonder of the world? Of course he was there for a final experiment. And they would use the celluloid, cellophane, and they would basically sanitize bathrooms with ultraviolet rays. I mean, this was some crazy stuff going on back in those years. So this was going on while Tesla was there, of course, in the Wyndham New Yorker, and they would sanitize these bathrooms with UV light, and then they would wrap the bathroom in cellophane. But according to this, Sam Foster in 1929 used celluloid to make sunglasses. Now it's interesting because the same celluloid that's used to make sunglasses is also used to make movie film. Yes. So now you have a direct connection between sunglasses and the film industry. It's made out of celluloid, a durable though flammable plastic material composed mainly of cellulose nitrate and camphor. Celluloid has been used in many experimental technologies, from the study of diffraction phenomenon to the development of cinematic film. Now here's what's interesting. This is all about light. Okay, this is all about the transmission of light waves through this celluloid. In 1885, Hannibal Lecter, right, Goodwin, developed celluloid film, which became so widely used in the motion picture industry that the films were known for many years as celluloids. That's what they used to call film. Instead of film, they called it celluloids. In spite of the greater resolution and durability of images captured on film, digital imagery, due to its flexibility and convenience, is superseding film in consumer markets. So everything's gone to digital now. But before, it was on this celluloid. Now, this is interesting. This is the Saturn Award. And of course, it shows a movie reel around forming the rings of Saturn. This is the celluloid. And Saturn is up there in the sky. The connection, they're talking about the connection between Saturn and Earth, as you can see down here. You see this map, the equidistant points, longitude and latitudinal lines on the surface of the Earth, and above it Saturn transmitting its celluloid film of evil, the black hole sun, the evil light. This stuff goes very deep. In the 1920s, Hollywood actresses, ironically featured on celluloid film, started wearing shorter hairstyles. These became popular, causing a collapse in the market for combs and threatening Foster Grant. This is the guy who made sunglasses popular in Hollywood. However, the development of injection molding technology made it impossible to produce mass-market celluloid sunglasses. Sales rapidly increased with Hollywood stars featuring in advertising campaigns. The company became a major player in the sunglasses industry. Foster Grant's 1960 and 70 sunglasses ad campaign. Who's that behind those Foster Grants? Including celebrities Peter Sellers, Louis Jordan, Carol Baker, Claudia. All these people were featured wearing these sunglasses. I guess this is a new feature of Wikipedia. When you scroll over the names of, or any link, it actually shows the picture. It's kind of neat. So Cindy Crawford, again, they brought it back with Cindy Crawford in 2000, and Jeff Gordon. So this all means something. There's actually studies too about how they believe celluloid is the space between stars, and that there's some kind of communication between this. Is some kind of medium for communication in the spirit realm. So here's the paper on the ultraviolet spectra of organic molecules and the interstellar medium. This talks all about cellophane as the interstellar medium. This is probably the stuff that Nikola Tesla was working on. The polysaccharides cellulose and starch have been shown to give an excellent match to a certain spectra of interstellar medium. Spectra is like the way that something processes light. Okay? This is all about light. Lucifer, the light bearer, right? The matching was based on comparisons of laboratory spectra of polysaccharides with those of various astronomical objects, in particular dark clouds. Cellulose has broad absorption bands. The commonly accepted dominant interstellar material was the crystalline silicates. It has been claimed that cellulose obviates the need for presence of both ice and silicates in the interstellar medium. Several organic molecules have already been found associated with dust grains in the interstellar medium. This is all about the stars. It always has been, always will be. The ultraviolet absorption in the interstellar medium can provide an additional identification technique for interstellar organic molecules. So what are the UV spectral characteristics of cellulose? We've tried to answer this question by measuring UV spectrum of cellulose and comparing it to UV spectrum of the interstellar medium. Cellophane, then they talk about cellophane. The sample we chose was regenerated cellulose produced from wood pulp known as cellophane, which is the thin plastic material. So you see, there's much more to cellophane than meets the eye. Although cellulose might exist in the interstellar medium, we are not yet prepared to reject the presence of water, ice, and silicates. So this stuff goes deep, you guys. Very deep. We'll get to the bottom of it eventually. But anyway, then something else hit me. Ray-Ban, the sunglass name. Everything is in the words, right? So what do Ray-Bans do? They ban the rays from the sun, right? So I'm wondering if that's where the name for Ray-Bans came from, which were very popular in the 80s and 90s, and maybe even today. They're some of the most expensive sunglasses. So this is where all this came out of. Hollywood. By 1938, Life magazine wrote about how sunglasses were a new fad for wear on city streets. See, they create the fads. Anytime they create something, look out. A favorite affection of thousands of women all over the U.S., 20 million sunglasses were sold in the United States in 1937. It was estimated that only about 25% of American wearers needed them to protect their eyes. Polarized glasses first became available in 1936. Okay, Polaroid, this whole thing. China is the world's largest producer of sunglasses, with its port exporting 120 million pairs each year. So that's what's going on with the history of the sunglasses. Take care and be safe, you guys.